Welcome back, Arsenal family. FA Cup third-round draw in full. Arsenal handed away tie as Man United face all Premier League clash. Crystal Palace will begin their FA Cup defense against non-league Macclesfield. To Sean Denner and Ali. Arsenal will face Portsmouth in the FA Cup third round, while Tottenham have been drawn against Aston Villa. The Gunners, who have been knocked out of the competition by the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, and Manchester City in recent seasons, will be happier with a showdown against a championship side. Arsenal beat Portsmouth 2-0 at Fratton Park en route to winning the FA Cup during the 2019-20 season, and Mikel Arteta will be hopeful it's a good omen as he seeks to end his side's long wait for a major trophy. Spurs, meanwhile, will take on Villa in arguably the standout tie from the FA Cup third-round draw. These sides met in the fourth round in the 2024-25 season, with Unai Emery's side emerging victorious at Villa Park. Elsewhere, Manchester City will welcome Exeter City to the Etihad Stadium. Liverpool host Barnsley, and Chelsea have been handed a London derby away at Charlton. Manchester United have been paired with Brighton in an all-Premier League showdown, and holders Crystal Palace will begin the defense of their trophy against non-league Macclesfield. FA Cup third-round draw in full. Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Shrewsbury. Doncaster versus Southampton. Tottenham versus Aston Villa. Port Vale versus Fleetwood. Preston versus Wigan. Ipswich versus Blackpool. Wrexham versus Nottingham Forest. Charlton versus Chelsea. Man City versus Exeter. West Ham versus QPR. Sheffield Wednesday versus Brentford. Fulham versus Middlesbrough. Everton versus Sunderland. Liverpool versus Barnsley. Burnley versus Millwall. Norwich versus Walsall. Portsmouth versus Arsenal. Derby versus Leeds. Swansea versus West Brom. Southford versus Swindon. Boreham Wood versus Brackley or Burton. Grimsby versus Weston-super-Mare. Hull versus Blackburn. Newcastle versus Bournemouth. MK Dons versus Oxford United. Cheltenham Town versus Leicester. Cambridge versus Birmingham. Bristol City versus Watford. Stoke versus Coventry. Macclesfield versus Crystal Palace. Manchester United versus Brighton. Sheffield United versus Mansfield. Mikel Arteta to make 6 Arsenal changes versus Club Brugge as Victor Gyökeres starts. Arsenal take on Club Brugge on the road in Wednesday's Champions League clash. The Gunners saw their 18-match unbeaten streak end after a dramatic 2-1 Premier League defeat at Aston Villa last weekend. The club's focus will now turn to the Champions League, where they are scheduled to face Club Brugge at the Jan Breidel Stadium. We anticipate manager Mikel Arteta to make at least 6 changes given the heavy workload over the past few months. The likes of Declan Rice, Martin Zubimendi, and Bukayo Saka should be given breathers on the bench. Arsenal are presently top of the league phase of the Champions League with 15 points, 3 ahead of the chasing pack. The game offers Arteta a perfect opportunity to rotate his squad and keep key players fresh for future challenges. Here are 6 changes Arteta could make. Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back. Ricardo Calafiori is suspended for the Premier League game against Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday after picking up his 5th yellow card of the campaign at Villa Park. Miles Lewis-Skelly will replace Calafiori at left back this weekend. We also anticipate him to start against Club Brugge, having made the first 11 in 3 of the previous 4 European games. Calafiori was spotted leaving Villa Park with a quite pronounced limp as per James Benge. We believe the Italian should only come on as a substitute for Lewis-Skelly in midweek if required. Christian Norgard and Ethan Nwaneri in midfield. Declan Rice made a stunning 21 defensive contributions against Villa last weekend. He looked absolutely jaded and distraught after the last gasp loss. He should be completely rested. The Englishman has started regularly for Arsenal in every competition this term and has been ever present for the Three Lions too. It appears the ideal game to keep him out of the 11. Similarly, Martin Zubimendi and Martin Odegaard should be given breathers. Odegaard has just returned from a 3rd injury of the season, and we won't be surprised if he features on the bench. We anticipate Christian Norgard to come in for Zubimendi in the number 6 role. Mikel Merino could drop into central midfield on Wednesday, with Ethan Nwaneri operating as the attacking midfielder. New look front three. There could be a new look front three against the Belgian outfit. As said previously, we would keep Saka on the bench. This would obviously mean Nani Madueke getting the nod on the right wing. The former Chelsea man scored his maiden Gunners goal in the 3-1 win over Bayern Munich. Victor Gyökeres looks poised to make his first start in over a month after 3 substitute appearances. The Swede has a big point to prove, having found himself playing second fiddle to Marino up front lately. Eberechi Eze had a forgettable outing on Saturday, and his poor man-marking contributed to Matty Cash's opening goal. He was substituted at the half-time interval along with Marino. Eze could likewise start on the bench on Wednesday as part of the rotation. We fancy Gabriel Martinelli to get the nod on the left wing ahead of Leandro Trossard, who does not appear fully fit. The Belgian continued his brilliant form with an 11th goal contribution of the season at Villa Park. The 31-year-old is unlikely to be risked from the starting 11 against Club Brugge. Martinelli has been a revelation in the Champions League this season, scoring in each of his 4 appearances. Elsewhere, David Raya, Ben White, Jurrien Timber, and Piero Hincapi are expected to keep their places. Gabriel Magalhaes, Christian Mosquera, and Kai Havertz are sidelined until the new year with injuries, but it is still uncertain whether William Saliba will be fit to return on Wednesday night. Losing to Aston Villa was a significant setback and dealt a major blow to Arsenal's title ambitions. Yet, being knocked out of the Carabao Cup would represent an even greater setback. The Gunners have advanced to the quarterfinals of the competition and are scheduled to face Crystal Palace 2 days before Christmas. This match offers an opportunity to extend their strong record against the Eagles this season while keeping them firmly in contention for a trophy during a campaign that has begun to spark uncertainty. Arsenal's position in the Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup is the earliest piece of silverware available to any English club this term, and the need for Arsenal to win it appears increasingly pressing. Their recent results away from home have cast doubts over their ability to sustain a Premier League title bid, and the team must now respond with conviction. A strong performance against Crystal Palace would demonstrate resilience and help rebuild confidence at a critical moment. Victory would allow Arsenal to gain renewed self-belief, reinforcing the idea that their objectives for the season remain within reach. Failure, however, would deepen the existing doubts and could influence their form in European competition as well as in the league, potentially leading to a more prolonged period of instability. The challenge presented by Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are regarded as one of the most difficult opponents in England, and they will undoubtedly provide the stern examination Arsenal require to validate their progress. The match demands discipline, control, and a clear demonstration of improvement. This fixture carries significance far beyond simple qualification for the next round. It stands as a key moment for Arsenal to reaffirm their ambitions, show that setbacks can be overcome, and ensure that their season does not drift into further uncertainty. Thank you for watching this massive Arsenal update. If you want more long-form Arsenal news videos daily, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications, comment your thoughts on the Rice injury situation.